what I love about this, you guys, is again, they're giving you exposure to an audience you wouldn't have had otherwise. So instead of going, I'll go to the OTAs and pay them my 15.5%, I'm like, no, I'll pay this influencer less than what I would pay in all of those bookings and let them bring new traffic to me, an audience that I may not have reached otherwise. And now they're just going to book direct and I'm going to own the relationship from the very beginning. I've got an episode for you today that I don't know, it might be a little bit controversial because I feel like anytime I talk about influencer marketing, I met with a slew of different comments and conversation around, yes, influencers were great. And oh my gosh, influencer marketing is the biggest waste of time ever. So I'm going to share some client results with you guys today in terms of what we've been able to do for clients with influencer marketing. I titled this episode like one of our clients we got a 3.7x ROI for. The other one of our other clients we took from zero direct bookings to 45%, and that was largely due to influencers as well. So I'm going to talk about both of those two specific things today and hopefully myth bust a little bit about influencer marketing along the way. Before I really get into the results, if you guys are new to the podcast, you may not know the whole backstory of where I fall with influencer marketing. And so I wanted to share that with you first. And then we're going to dive into exactly what we've done to help these two clients. I'm going to lay out strategy for you guys. I'm going to lay out how we've done this. So if this is an episode that you're like, okay, yes, I have a social media presence. I've built my brand. I think I might be ready for influencers. I'm kind of interested in learning about that. This may be one you want to come back and take notes on if you're driving, so just be careful. Okay? All right. Save it. Make sure to save it. But go ahead and listen and then listen again and take notes. So to give you guys some backstory on the influencer side of things. So back in 2014, I was an intern out in New York City for a fashion company called Faviana. And oh gosh, I love them. Every time I talk about this, I've been watching, total side note. I know you guys love when I do this. I've been watching Owning Manhattan, and I totally could have moved out to New York City and worked for Faviana. Like I absolutely could have. I think that they would have hired me in a heartbeat. But my boss, the whole reason I got that internship is because I was working for a boutique here in Indy, and we were one of their best retailers. So it was a prom dress boutique. They largely did prom dresses. And my boss was like, yeah, you can't take Steph from me. So like she can come intern with you for a summer, but you can't take her from me permanently. So they were like, okay, we will not do that. But anyway, if I would have been like, hey, I really want to move to New York City, they would have hired me. And Colin came out to visit me that summer. Remember, Colin and I have been together, you guys. In February, we celebrated being together for 17 years. I don't even know how that's possible. I don't feel old enough to have been with somebody for 17 years, but I am. So here we are. But we've been together for 17 years, and he came out to visit me in 2014. So we'd been together since 2009. This is a pretty lengthy relationship. I mean, we went through high school together. We were, still going through college because I interned in New York between my junior and senior year at Butler. And he came out that summer and was like, I love you, but if you want to move here, I'm not coming with you. I was like, okay, noted. And I loved New York, but I did not want to raise a family in the city. I didn't think it was what I wanted to do long term. But I've been watching Owning Manhattan, and I like visualize this life of like, where would I be right now if I would have made the decision to live in New York City and stay out there and live that life? Like maybe I'd be on this show because I would have found my way into real estate. I don't know. So anyway, it's just kind of funny. But in 2014, back to the point of the episode today, in 2014, when I was interning with them, I had the opportunity to work with bloggers and hire bloggers. They were doing this, and they worked with Happatime was her Instagram handle, I think, at the time. And she was very well known in the blogging sphere. So we were doing a number of different influencer campaigns. We also created their ambassador program for like Faviana ambassadors to hire and basically connect like real women with the brand and so forth. So it was really cool. I had an awesome experience there leading some of their marketing efforts and providing feedback to the design team. Like, oh my gosh, that internship was so good. I lived my best Sex in the City life that year. It was so, actually it wasn't probably that glamorous, but it was really fun. And I had a good time. I also thought that vodka sours, because that's what I drank back in the day, that was the first summer I had turned 21. And I thought that vodka sours on the regular were like $13 to $15, and that was normal. And then I came back to Indiana and went to a bar with my friends and they were like, okay, that'll be $3. I was like, what? What kind of lifestyle did I live this summer? So that was wild. But anyway, again, side note. So, very cool opportunity. That was in 2014. Fast forward to 2016, the boutique that I was working for here in Indy, who I'd been hired by after I'd worked for them my entire senior year of high school, all of college, wrote blogs for them even while I was abroad. So thankful for that job and that opportunity. But they started working with influencers as part of our marketing strategy. And I got to have my hands in all of that and coordinate influencers and reach out to them and pitch them and all the things. And so again, Instagram wasn't what it was then as it is today. It was like you have to post at 8 p.m. and that's going to be your best post time. And it was only photos. Reels didn't exist. It was a whole thing. So, and on stories, you could only share links if you had over 10,000 followers. So every influencer was trying to get to 10,000 so they could share links to earn commissions on things. Wild times back then. But in doing that, I realized, oh my gosh, we're working with influencers. I could do this. I People could send me free things and pay me to talk about them on my Instagram account, and I'll build a community around this. So I created my own brand, Trendy and Indie. So I've been on the brand side and also on the influencer side now, literally since 2014. I've done a number of different, obviously I built Trendy and Indie. I did a number of different travel collaborations within that. I had the opportunity to work with Lark Hotels. They have a really cool property in Nantucket. Had the opportunity to stay there as part of a collaboration. Ondas, both in Napa Valley and on Wall Street. The one on Wall Street is where my whole life and world changed, and pivoted into the Weber Co. as you see it today, or that's where it kind of started. I had the opportunity to work with Ondas Napa Valley in 2018. No, was it 2017? It was 2017. Colin and I did a big trip and we went from Indy to Colorado to Napa to Seattle. And so I just pitched. I was just like, hey, this is who I am and we're coming out there and I'd love to stay with you. And so they gave us a couple of free nights in exchange for content. And they were so impressed by the work that I did. They said, hey, if you want to connect to any of our other partners, any of our other locations, please let me know. And I was like, actually, I would love to talk to your Wall Street location because we're going to be going there for New York Fashion Week in 2018. And everyone, this is how I roll, you guys. Every influencer was like, unless you have 100,000 followers, don't even try to pitch to a hotel for New York Fashion Week because you won't get it. I had just over 10,000 followers at the time, and I was like, okay, watch me. Hold my wine. And I had a conversation with them, interviewed with them, talked to them on the phone, like really understood what they were looking for. We checked into our hotel. We got to New York Fashion Week. We checked into the Ondas Wall Street. They literally gave us what I felt like was the penthouse, not kidding. I don't know that it actually was, but we had a massive room that had this beautiful primary suite. The bathroom is bigger than my primary bedroom here at home. Actually, it's like probably double the size of my primary bedroom here at home. It had a whole sitting area. It had this massive like dining and conference table. Then it had a conjoining room as well. So it was just, I was like, this is mind blowing right now. It was really cool. So anyway, had that as a collaboration. Had the opportunity to work with 25 Hours Hotels over in Europe. I went there in 2018 as well. I took my brother over after he graduated and I was like, let's just see what happens. So I pitched to them and they gave us free nights in exchange for content at their location where we stayed at in Zurich and their location where we stayed at in Munich, which was super cool. So anyway, had a number of different travel collaborations along with obviously the fashion and beauty side of things, made a really strong presence here in the Indianapolis area, got locked out of my Instagram account over Black Friday in 2018, which is what, funny enough, led us into what I'm doing right now today. So that's a whole long story I don't need to tell you about. The purpose of this is influencer marketing today. And that's kind of my background. So I've worked both the brand and the influencer side, have coordinated influencers for a number of different brands as well in our agency. And now I'm doing this work, obviously, in the hospitality space. So for these two specific clients that I want to walk you guys through today, number one, I want you to hear that when people bash influencer marketing, you're literally bashing, I don't know, I think it's over $22 billion. Yes, I did say billion with a B. The influencer marketing industry is massive. There is a reason that so many huge brands are using influencers or have used influencers to grow. It is very intentional. Brands, when they, especially startup brands, They literally outline influencers as part of their marketing budget. This is the number one problem that you all are not doing. You're not planning a marketing budget at all. You're like, oh, yeah, like we'll just list on the OTAs. And then you're like, oh, wait, then they take 18% of my funds or 15.5% or what, 20% at some point in time. Who knows what it's going to turn into, you guys. So they're literally just like taking chunks of your revenue and you could be investing that into influencers, growing your own brand, building that. And then when you go to sell, especially boutique hotel, have a significantly higher valuation because you have poured into your own branding and your marketing efforts, which is going to make the sale inherently more valuable. Okay. Anyway, there's that. But I see people who are like, oh, influencer marketing is the worst and whatnot. And it's like, you feel that way because it hasn't worked for you, because you haven't structured partnerships effectively, or you haven't taken the time. Andaz Wall Street literally got on a phone call with me and interviewed me before they told me, yes, you can come and stay with us. And yes, we'll hire you as an influencer or comp your room or whatever. Okay. So just again, it is a process. It is not as easy as just being like, let me just send this message to this influencer. We have a whole process for this. When we are sourcing influencers for clients, we have an entire process for this. I also have connections, obviously, in the influencer space, which really helps me and helps me be able to connect influencers to our clients. But we build a relationship with them. We follow their content. We engage on their posts. We take a look at their stories. We engage on their stories. And then we're reaching out and asking if we can send more information about a specific brand, right? There's a whole pitch process that's involved in this, along with building a relationship. And in some cases, I do get on an interview, especially if an influencer is asking for a rate that I'm like, tell me why. And that does happen, right? You do have to kind of take a look at things with a grain of salt. And you guys, we get crazy, crazy pitches and crazy rates sent back to us every single day. And I'm just like, no, we're not going to pay you $18,000 for a reel and some stories. We're just not going to do that. And sometimes it is about like what makes sense based on your brand. In some cases, that might make sense, but for a mid-scale hotel, probably not so much. So it's kind of going, all right, the sourcing process is important, the pitch process and the negotiation process, and what is also the value add? Because in some cases with influencers, we're also able to get content usage rights. This is so important. I want you guys to hear this loudly. Influencers, their job, very similar to paid ads, should be to get traffic to your account. You should be growing followers. You should be taking a look at your email subscriber opt-ins. You should be taking a look at your website traffic. You should have your Facebook pixel installed. You need to have all the foundations in place so that you can effectively measure, what did this influencer campaign result in for us? I know that you all want to see bookings and you're like, I want to see bookings and I want to see them now. If I'm going to give up a $500 night, I better see $5 million in bookings. I'm serious. Like, I know I'm exaggerating, but that is how it feels sometimes when I'm speaking about influencer marketing in the space. And it's like, I just kind of want to be like, do you expect that when you run paid ads? Like, what are your expectations here? So, and let's like adjust a little bit. Let's adjust. But influencers, what I love about working with them over paid ads, and the two can work hand in hand, but I like influencers because they have built an audience that already knows, likes, and trusts them. You can ask them for their analytics data. You can ask them for those insights so you can see where their audiences are located. You can make sure that it's in alignment with yours. You can make sure that they're great storytellers. You can ask for results of past collaborations. You can do all of those things. But you guys, it is up to you to build the relationship, to source effectively, and to make sure that you are so clear about your deliverables and you're clear about how you're going to track success. I understand you want to see bookings. That's great. Again, someone may be coming into your audience. This is what's a little hard about influencer marketing, and I will absolutely admit to this and say this. An influencer may bring in, let's just say 500 followers, okay? Those 500 people, the reality is that maybe 1 to 2% of them might be ready to make a booking decision with you. Okay, they might be ready to make that booking decision. Otherwise, they're bringing those followers in. Your content needs to keep those followers engaged. You have like 72 hours to make sure that they're going to keep following and engaging your account. This is why your own content strategy is so important, and why I say don't just rely on influencers. They're bringing traffic to you. You got to keep the traffic, and you've got to get them to your website, and you've got to get them to your email list. There's strategic ways to do this too with influencers to actually get traffic to sites and get traffic to your email list. We'll talk about that a little bit, but you have to make sure that you're doing that. Um, and that again, you're set up so that you're capturing, okay, you may not be ready to make a booking decision right now, but 5 months from now you might be. Well, then it's like, when did they come into our ecosystem and can we attribute that to this influencer? The best way to track is to use UTM codes. So UTM codes are like a snippet of code you can put on the back of your URL, and it will try, you can assign that to a specific influencer, and you can say, hey, when you're sharing in your stories, please use this specific URL. Then in your back end of Google Analytics, it's going to show you, hey, you saw 1,000 page views this day from this specific URL, and you can attribute that to the influencer. So that's a way to track website traffic with influencers. Otherwise, you can do promo codes, right? And that's how we track, okay, our bookings coming in via promo code that was given to this influencer. What are we kind of seeing there, right? So, all of that being said, you want to make sure that you're being mindful of, yes, you want to see bookings, but be aware of what is the buying cycle and what are your booking lead times. This is why I say, if you want to bring influencers in during your off season because you just have the nights and you're like, whatever, we have the nights, it's fine. Let's just get people in. I hear that and I understand that. But like for us, for the cabins, I didn't bring influencers to us in January and February. The experience in January and February at the cabins is much different than what you're going to get in spring, summer, and fall, which are our best times of year to go and visit. So it's not me putting my best foot forward from an influencer perspective to come and host somebody and really show the experience. In addition to that, our booking lead times, I would rather have influencers coming at the beginning of April, beginning of May, throughout the summer, into the fall, because that we are going to definitely see traction with that. And what I love about this, you guys, is again, they're giving you exposure to an audience you wouldn't have had otherwise. So instead of going, I'll go to the OTAs and pay them my 15.5%, I'm like, no, I'll pay this influencer less than what I would pay in all of those bookings and let them bring new traffic to me, an audience that I may not have reached otherwise. And now they're just going to book direct and I'm going to own the relationship from the very beginning. That's what I prefer. I understand not all of you see it that way, and that's okay. That's how I see it. But anyway, so we ask every influencer in terms of the deliverables, because I know I've kind of talked about that a little bit here. In terms of what those deliverables need to be, we typically ask every influencer for a reel, a collaborative reel. We typically ask every influencer for a series of stories that's going to include the link to our direct site as well as a promo code. And then we're asking in some cases for the raw content that we can use, content usage rights. I think I started talking about this earlier and I may have gone on down a different rabbit hole. You have to be really diligent about how you're going to use content. And if you plan to use it in paid ads or you plan to use it in the future on your own platforms, etc., the influencer needs to know that ahead of time. Please, please, please don't take their work and just be like, oh, this is mine now and I own the rights to it. Definitely make sure that that's negotiated in an agreement. And have a dang agreement. Oh my goodness. So many people who influencer marketing didn't work for did not have a contract in place and had no follow-up process in terms of what are the deliverables, when are they due by, and what happens if these deliverables are not met, right? So please make sure that you're doing that. I think because we're an agency, I was telling somebody this the other day. Thankfully, we haven't had an issue. We had one influencer who didn't post in time and we lessened her payout. And I told her that. I was like, you didn't post within your 7 days of when we ask. And she came back with a number of different excuses. And I was just like, sorry, but no, you have a responsibility. I understand that I get that your family's all sick. You could have shot a quick email to me and been like, hey, FYI, instead of me following up with you. And I gave you grace. I gave you 10 full days before I reached out to you. No, this is why we have agreements in place. But I think because we're an agency, there's less of that happens because influencers are going, oh, you're an agency, there's opportunity for me to work with you at multiple different properties. And so I think that actually really helps and supports our clients and supports what we're doing as a whole. So all that said, those are sort of the deliverables we ask for. On the collaborative reel, you could choose for that to be a giveaway for a 1 or a 2 night stay or $500 towards a stay or something, whatever's going to make sense for your brand, or it could just be a collaborative reel. We have definitely had success on all of those fronts. And some of it is a little bit dependent upon what's going to work best for your particular unique situation and also what works best for the influencer's audience. Like what is it that they're used to and what is it that they're going to really engage with? So all of those factors matter. Booking lead times matter. So in terms of when you're actually booking those stays, very relevant. What I would tell you guys, here's the question I would ask because I see this a lot. I'm not going to give up free nights just for an influencer to come like create some content and feel good on their Instagram. And I'm like, what a petty way to look at this. What if you gave someone, let's say that your ADR is, I don't know, let's say it's $500 a night. This is high, okay? Let's say it's $500 a night. Let's say that you bring in an influencer, they stay for 2 nights. So you're giving away $1,000 plus maybe your cleaning fees $400. All right, that's $1,400. And just to even like sweeten this more, let's say that you paid that influencer 600. So now you're all in at $2,000. That's your investment in one influencer. That influencer brings in, let's say 600 followers. This is not abnormal. Let's say they bring in 600 followers from their platform. Let's say that they, not only do they bring in those 600 followers, let's say that 100 of those get on your email list because of how you've structured this collaboration. And let's say that you see $6,000 in bookings right off the bat within 30 days period of time from that particular influencer. Is that worth it for you? Is that worth it for you? To own all of those emails, to own potential guests who are on your Instagram now. And also, if you have many chat funnels set up, you can automatically DM all of your new followers. Spoiler alert, 10 out of 10 recommend that you set that up to DM those new followers. So definitely do that. But you guys, again, this is just about being strategic, and it's just about making sure you have the pieces in place. That to me is worth it all day long, because not only did I make money on the bookings themselves, I paid for the influencer, I made money. Now I own all of these other audience members who could potentially book stays with us at some point in time, and I can continue to market to them. And those 100 that are on my email list now, I can run ads to them. I can continue to, same with on my Instagram account, I can continue to send emails to them. At some point, I'm going to be able to convert, right? So that is kind of in a nutshell the influencer marketing strategy that we leverage. We'll customize it based on client, based on their needs, based on what makes most sense for how we're positioning their brand. I'm sure you're not surprised that came up in this conversation. We also will structure it strategically based on the influencer and what they're providing to us too. So hopefully this helps give you guys a good overview. Influencer marketing is absolutely not a waste of time, but you do need to understand the metrics that you're actually using. Again, what we're tracking, just to kind of go back to this, we're absolutely tracking engagement and growth on whatever social media platforms that they've posted and added us as a collaborator, invited us, whatever. So we're definitely looking at that. We're taking a look at website traffic. I would take a look at website traffic within the first week or so of them posting, especially if you're running a giveaway, and especially if you've used a mini chat funnel to have that influencer send traffic to a landing page on your website to opt into a giveaway. I may have just lost some of you there. If I did, this is why our agency handles this. So we would love to support you and help you with it. But we had an influencer last year. I think she drove 300 email subscribers or something to the list. And she drove like $8,000 of bookings using her own promo code. It was insane. I was like, yes, I love this. This is so good. And that was on a hotel that their ADR is like $120 a night or less. Like that's the average kind of, right? So that was huge. But anyway, all that being said, we look at that. We look at website traffic, look at email subscribers. And again, for like roughly a week or so after their stay, oh my gosh. Oh, and then bookings. There we go. Bookings with, and the way that we're looking at bookings is like, okay, we are assigning an influencer a promo code. That's probably the best way to track bookings from an influencer. Some of you are going to be like, I don't want to give away revenue. And I hear you. I get that. But I'm also like, you feel like you're giving away revenue, but you're doing client acquisition. So on Airbnb, on booking.com, on VRBO, you're giving away revenue to acquire clients and let them market for you. They're not marketing for you. They're doing it based on an algorithm. Okay. They are marketing for them. But anyway, that's that. I just would rather have ownership. I would just rather have ownership, and influencer marketing can definitely help you do that. And you're targeting an influencer is targeting an audience that already knows, likes, and trusts them, versus paid ads. You may be targeting cold audiences. It's going to take a million touch points to be able to say, yes, I want to move forward with you in a booking decision, right? So I hope that this was a helpful example for you guys. The client that we got the 3.7x ROI on, that was a boutique hotel, 130 key boutique hotel. And again, the strategy I outlined is what we use there. The other property that I referenced at the beginning of this episode, whose results I wanted to share too, they came to us. They had zero direct bookings. They weren't doing any, none. And they hired us to help launch their second cabin. So we used influencers for that. And from May to December of 2025, they ended the year at 45% direct bookings on that cabin. That was due to their brand and brand alignment and the strategy there, having a great direct booking website that we built as well. And then also, obviously, using influencers. That is one thing I will say. If your direct booking website is terrible, you are not going to see results with influencers. If you don't have your email funnels set up, you're not going to be able to track that metric. You still may see results, but you're not going to be able to track that metric. And if you don't have your Facebook pixel installed, any traffic that they're sending and you choose to run paid ads at some point in time is not being tracked. So all of those are things. This is why I'm like, yes, influencer marketing's great. It is great. But you've got to have some foundations in place before you can really see how effective it actually is for you. So just be mindful of all of those things. Okay. All right. I appreciate you guys being on this episode today. Thank you. If you need support with influencer marketing, you're curious about how it works with our agency, please be sure to check out the link in the show notes. You can inquire, book a call with me, and I'm happy to share our process on what it looks like for us to do the heavy lifting for you and get aligned influencers who are going to drive results for you. So check it out, and I look forward to connecting with you so soon. Cheers.